If someone told you that you could get $5 million just by staying in a completely white room with the one you love for 50 days, would you say yes? My name is Kate, and Mike and I were madly in love. To be honest, it sounded like free money to us, so we gladly accepted the challenge. What we didn't realize was that this decision would lead us step by step into a terrifying abyss. Once the challenge starts, it can't be interrupted. Even if one person leaves midway, the other can still walk away with 1 million. There's nothing here except each other. No phones, no TV, no entertainment of any kind. Of course, if you want, you can request an advance on the prize money for a small treat. And it's nice. When we first came in, we immediately started planning how to spend the money. After all, 5 million isn't a small amount. We needed a solid plan. Guided by an AI voice, we began exploring the room we'd be living in for the next 50 days. It's a huge white space. The 4 walls are pure white, like we'd walked into a sterile lab. Besides us, there's only one bed and a long bench, and a simple bathroom. If we want to give up, all we have to do is press the red button on the wall. There's a touch screen on the wall too, where we can claim those little treats. Above the door, there's a massive countdown clock, reminding us with every second how slowly time passes. Every day, food is delivered through a special pipe. Usually a box of white shakes with enough nutrients to keep us going. The lights inside respond to ambient light. When it gets dark, it means it's time to sleep. I set a fixed wake-up time on the touchscreen, hoping to adjust to the rhythm of this place as soon as possible. Mike and I were excited on the first night. The next morning when the alarm rang, I immediately went into the bathroom. Looking at myself in the mirror, I shouted, "Today is a beautiful, happy day!" Then Mike and I took turns taking hot showers and placed our clothes into the designated chute. The system quickly delivered 2 sets of clean clothes for us. I tried to keep myself busy, so I started thinking about the purpose of this challenge. Mike told me he'd seen a documentary about a similar setup. Nobody could last more than 30 days in a sealed room. We both agreed this was just some rich person's boring game. But we found out that when you focus entirely on time, it feels like it will never pass. I chose to meditate and clear my mind. Mike, on the other hand, just stared at the countdown clock all day. I reminded him to focus on the 5 million instead of watching the time. That would make it easier to stick it out. But he wouldn't listen. By the second night, Mike was already suffering from insomnia. I kept to my schedule, getting up every day and encouraging myself in the mirror. I also tried to cheer Mike up. When I meditated, he started trying to calm himself too, like jogging in place. We even played childish games and danced together to kill time. Every time we changed out of dirty clothes, we'd quickly receive fresh, clean ones. Just like that, weeks passed. Until one day, something different finally happened. Mike found a little bug in the corner. Nobody knew how it got in. He played with it for a while and even wanted to feed it some of our shake. Then the AI warned us, no feeding non-humans. Worried the bug wouldn't survive in here, Mike asked the AI to let it out. I told him the AI wouldn't respond to that. I'd already tried. Mike wanted to open the door to let the bug out, and I stopped him immediately, because opening that door would mean failure. He looked at the bug, heartbroken, unable to let it go. When he finally set it down, he turned and accused me of having no compassion. I snapped back, saying that he was being too soft. Now's not the time for pity. We had one goal, get the money. At that moment, I decided to walk away and cool off. But I wasn't watching where I was going. By the time I realized something was wrong, I had already stepped on the bug. It was crushed under my foot. I apologized right away and explained it was a complete accident, but it was clear he didn't believe me. After that, he sat alone in the corner, sulking. Eventually, he got so bored that he remembered the treats. He wanted to request one using the prize advance. I disagreed. Every time we took a treat, it cost us $100,000, but he didn't care. He went ahead and used it. He got a green crayon. As soon as he had it, he started drawing all over the white walls. Finally, he had something to do. I joined in, asking him to draw a portrait of me. I told him I wanted it realistic. He agreed, but what he drew was the kind of abstract art I hate the most. Furious, I walked away. He stayed behind, drawing until the crayon stopped working. Even the bathroom was scribbled all over. I couldn't take it anymore, and we had a huge fight. Afterward, he rushed to apologize, saying he shouldn't have upset me. In the end, he said he hoped we could get along. After all, there were only 20 days left, and we'd complete the challenge. The days that followed did become calmer, but we started talking less. That morning, I found a gun in the bathroom. I hurriedly called Mike over. He was just as shocked and kicked the gun under the bed. We were both embarrassed, each suspecting the other had secretly used a treat. A few days later, we finally reached an agreement to use a treat together. This time, The system delivered a video. My sister appeared on screen. Mike was excited because I had never been willing to share anything about my family with him. Then another man appeared, my father. He told me to take care of myself. It should have been a touching moment, but I suddenly panicked. I told Mike to turn it off immediately, but since it was a system-provided treat, he couldn't stop it. In that moment, I felt as if something had struck me hard. I ran into the corner and broke down crying. Mike rushed over to comfort me. That night, I clung to Mike tightly and finally fell asleep. The next morning, the alarm went off as usual, but for the first time, I didn't get up. I stayed in bed all day without saying a word, as if I had fallen into a deep depression. Mike was extremely worried about me. I told him my father was a bastard who had hurt me deeply. In the blink of an eye, there were only just over 2 weeks left. I still stayed curled up in bed every day. Mike tried all kinds of ways to pass the time. He used his fingers to alter the drawings on the wall, read clothing tags aloud dramatically, even acted out scenes from classic films all by himself. He constantly comforted me, urging me to get up and move around, but I simply couldn't muster the energy. In the end, he just lay in bed with me, hoping I'd feel a little better. Over the next few days, Mike even started sleeping on the floor, just to change the environment. More days passed, and I still showed no sign of improvement. He became increasingly worried, even suggested quitting the challenge to take me to a doctor, but I refused because I didn't want to give up the prize money. Thinking of the $5 million, I finally forced myself to get out of bed. But now, Mike started sinking into low spirits, seemingly going crazy from the boredom. To lift his spirits, I agreed to let him use another treat. He actually did, and then he was stunned. A naked woman named Simone appeared in our room. She knew nothing about the challenge, only that she had been hired by the company to remain nude for 24 hours. Although I didn't like Simone, I still reminded Mike to take off his shirt and give it to her to cover the important parts. As she wandered around the room, Simone praised Mike's artistic talent, saying the portrait he did of me was amazing. As night fell, Mike didn't want to sleep on the floor again, and Simone didn't object to the three of us sharing the bed. Hearing that, I passive-aggressively offered to sleep in the middle, with them on either side. But with that arrangement, I didn't sleep a wink all night. When I woke up in the morning and didn't see Simone, I thought she had left. Turns out she was just in the bathroom taking a shower, which I found very hard to accept. To calm myself down, I painfully used a treat. This time, the system delivered 3 candies. I ate one, and Simone suddenly started singing. Mike hesitated, but finally put one in his mouth, too. As the candy melted, astonishing images began flashing before Mike's eyes, all from his subconscious fantasies. He lay on the bed as more and more visions flooded his mind. He saw his dead brother, the one who drowned while they were fighting over their inheritance. In the midst of these endless hallucinations, Mike finally jolted back to reality in terror. He panicked, demanding to leave immediately. I did everything I could to comfort him, telling him it was just a dream. Under my reassurance, Mike gradually calmed down and fell asleep. Simone was completely confused. I explained to her that when Mike was a child, he had watched his brother drown in a pool with his own eyes. That scene had become a nightmare he could never shake. Maybe to help Simone understand our relationship better, I shared some of the sweet memories Mike and I had together. When Mike woke up, Simone kindly shared how she had lost her mother at a young age, hoping to make Mike feel better. She grew emotional and even held Mike's hand. When I came out of the bathroom and saw that, I was terrified, thinking she was seducing my boyfriend. Simone bluntly told me I was insecure. We got into a fierce argument. All of this caused Mike's emotions to completely collapse. The next morning, Mike was still in a deep depression while Lafrac had already left the room. She left a message on the wall, thanking Mike for spending a crazy night with her. Seeing that message, I was furious, almost losing my mind. Mike rushed to explain that nothing had happened between him and Lafrac. But no matter what he said, I didn't believe him. Instead, I thought he was lying. In a fit of rage, I pushed Mike to the ground, causing a head injury that made him bleed. Seeing how insane I was, Mike got up and walked away from me, even mocking me, saying I was nothing but an ugly duckling. It was only because of him that I had come this far and could survive in the big city. I immediately apologized to Mike. At that moment, Mike felt dizzy from the wound and said he needed to see a doctor. But I only gave him a milkshake and covered his wound with a towel. I reminded him that if we left now, we'd lose all the prize money. For the $5 million, we had to endure the last few days. In fact, the wound wasn't serious and the bleeding soon stopped. But emotionally, he was deeply hurt because to him, I only cared about the money and didn't care about him. at all. The more Mike thought about it, the sadder he became, finally realizing that the cracks in our relationship had long existed. He started to suspect that I was only with him for his money. In the end, he made up his mind to leave. I held on to him tightly, refusing to let him go, accusing him of coming from privilege, never having suffered, and having no idea how hard life was for people like me. In a moment of desperation, I even picked up the gun and threatened him to stay. But Mike completely ignored me and, overwhelmed with sorrow, pressed the red button. Just days before the challenge was set to end, he left the room. After Mike left, I felt an immense sense of loss, but I didn't choose to leave. I vented my emotions, then endured the boredom and loneliness, quietly waiting for the remaining days to pass. After all, as long as one person made it to the end, they could still win the $1 million reward.